So Kings 11 Punjab. Let's talk about them. They played six, they won one, and that's a very concerning situation for them. And you have to feel bad for Anil Kumble, KL Rahul, and of course Preeti Sindhu, who's been the heart of Kings 11 since 2008 when the IPL began. Uh, I think there are three reasons why Kings 11 have not been able to convert this amazing team into W's and get their position higher in the points table. They're unfortunately at the bottom right now. So, three reasons. Let's start with reason number one. Reason number one is KL Rahul actually taking more responsibility than he should be. I know that sounds like what? Taking more responsibility? I thought responsibility is a good thing. But the problem is, KL Rahul is a free flowing attacking opener batsman. What happened in the initial few games was he was flying, right? He was scoring 50s. He even scored 100, the highest 100 by the highest score by an Indian batsman in the IPL, in fact. And that free flow did not really get converted to a win, except that one game. So he was like, okay, I'm the captain, I'm scoring runs, but I'm not winning. What's happening? Then he saw that the lower order, apart from Mayank and KL, everybody else is not really firing. They're probably scoring 10 runs, 20 runs. That's it. So nobody is able to capitalize on the start that KL Rahul is able to build. So he was like, okay, what do I do? Let me minimize my risk and make sure that I'm there throughout the innings. So I can control the innings and make my team win. In fact, even we yesterday saw him speak at the press conference and say that strike rate is overrated. But the reason we Indians want KL Rahul to replace Shikhar Dhawan as India's opener is because of his higher strike rate. His free flow, his attacking aggression on the top. Something like the Bairstow innings, something like how Jason Roy or Brendan McCullum, all those guys would approach. Virender Sehwag would approach the opening slot. So KL Rahul is curbing his natural style, and I think that is affecting his natural game and he's in fact scoring a lot lesser than what he did in those initial games. So I think that's number one. The fact that KL Rahul is taking just ownership of the entire team and trying to do everybody's job when he should just focus on doing what he does, stick to who he is, and continue what he's doing. So I think that's one. The second reason is Nicholas Pooran and Glenn Maxwell. Now, two amazing players, yes, no doubts. They are for West Indies and Australia game changers. If they get going, they win matches on their own. But the problem is they bat next to each other in Kings 11's batting lineup, which means Pooran walks out to bat. If somebody else gets out, Glenn Maxwell comes in. And more often than not, Pooran and Maxwell bats together. The problem there is they both have this attitude of, I want to hit every ball out of this park. And that attitude doesn't work every time, because there are days when you just see the ball better. If let's talk about Rohit Sharma scoring 264, right? I think it was 264 or 219. One of those innings, it was Robin Uthappa at the other end. And Robin Uthappa was crucial to Rohit scoring this much, because he understood that, okay, Rohit is scoring. My job is to not consume deliveries. I'm on strike, take single, give the strike to Rohit Sharma. But when Pooran got going yesterday against Sunrisers Hyderabad, Maxwell's now somebody who wants to take singles. I mean, he now has an open stance, and he's standing this wide open stance, and he's ready to smoke the ball out of the park. And then you expect him to take a single, which is the most best cricketing thing to do, because the other guy is going really well. But because, again, it's very different to their natural style of playing, Kings 11 had to take the hit, because, funnily enough, Glenn Maxwell got run out yesterday trying to give the strike back to Nicholas Pooran. So the fact that these two are mirror images of each other is a problem. Imagine if instead of Maxwell, Puran had, or instead of Puran, Maxwell had Owen Morgan or uh, Steve Smith. So these guys would just control the innings. Kane Williamson. These are all guys who read the game so well, and they have both these players of, okay, I can hit into the gaps, give you the strike, or if you're struggling, I will I will dominate the bowling. So that kind of approach is not there for either Nicholas Puran or Glenn Maxwell, which means that Kings 11's middle order have two very similar players who don't complement each other. They in fact superimpose each other. So you have this half of, this one half of their batting solid. They know that, okay, this style of play is there, but for this style to work, you need this other half. So this other half is not happening because they don't have players like that. That's again going back to the first point that KL Rahul is trying to do all of this, and that's why they have not been able to convert two wins. Now the third reason, and I think this is the most important reason, is that there's just no consistency in their lineups. They're just throwing in every player they have in their squad. Okay, let's see what you have. Except this universe boss sitting in their benches. The guy with all these long hair and the big, I don't know, we have some Thor's hammer kind of bat. And that guy's just waiting there. And we've seen him hit those monstrous sixes, those crazy hundreds. He even has a high score of 175 in a T20 match. So with Chris Gayle warming the benches and throwing in every other player, Krishna Gautam comes in, Chris Jordan comes in, Jimmy Neesham comes in, they are all taken out, and Mushfin comes in, Mujib now came in. So all of these, people coming in, people going out. So very few, Ravi Bishnoi, Mayank Agarwal, KL Rahul. I think apart from these three, nobody really has their spot guaranteed in their lineup. And that's a huge, huge, huge challenge because every time a player walks in to the team, they're like, oh, I need to play well. Because if I don't play well, I won't get one more chance. So they're not playing for the team's win. Rather, they're playing for, I have to impress Anil Kumble sir and KL Rahul because that's important. And that mindset, curtails a team sport because there's no I in a team sport. It's always we. It's always, let's go for the win. Let's go for the win. Let's go for the win. So that approach is curtailed because everybody is, auditioning to impress the other person, to impress the coach or the captain to let them play the next game as well. So I think these three, Mohammad Shami has been exceptional for them. I forgot his name in the mentioning his name. So it's very sad that, people like Mohammad Shami, Rahul, Mayank, and even Bishnoi, very young leg break bowler. So all these people are putting these exceptional performances in, but cannot string together team performances which will convert them to a win. So to close off, I do believe that Kings 11 is much better than what the IPL points table might tell us. And I really hope that the next half is better. At least, those two wins was very unfortunate that they couldn't score 3 runs in just one run in 3 balls. And also the, Tewatia happening to them. So those things were definitely very unfortunate that had happened to them when they lost those games where they almost 90 out of 100 times would have won. So I really hope that not just luck, but their belief that their team believes in the setup a lot more than they already have. And hopefully they can convert the potential that they have on the field and get those important wins for the team. Okay, so with that, I wish the Lions all the best. Roar back.